Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. Luke Taylor here. Sam is out today. I don't think he could handle the heat from this next coach. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us wherever you can, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter. If you're watching if you're watching the YouTube page, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. But as we say, pass the rock, share with your friends. So I had a tough time interviewing this next guest up because he lost to Coach Brodus at Morgan State. So I was like, well, maybe we should ask the Bears head man. He's not even laughing at me. I know you're saying something under your breath, but no, we've got one of our favorite coaches, one of the most underappreciated head coaches in college basketball right now. We got Norfolk State, the Spartans head man, Coach Robert Jones. Welcome to the Full Court Press.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. So you said to me, you'd love to come back at any time. And I just, we love all college basketball, and what you're doing at Norfolk is just remarkable in itself. And, we wanted to obviously give you some flowers, some spotlight, but it was funny. I said to you, hey, we'd love to have you next week if we won on Saturday. And I watched that game. That was a fun game. And it's Howard, has a losing record, undefeated in conference up until Saturday. Some really good basketball played on Saturday, to say the least.
Yeah, Saturday was a good game. I mean, Howard, they're missing like one or two guys. We just got one or two guys back from injury. So it's like, everybody got their own problems, I guess, at this point of the year. You just try to minimize yours. But, they came out and they were playing well. And, they're very dangerous teams. They can make the three. We did a good job of running them off the three-point line because we just felt like if they couldn't make a three, it was going to be tough to beat us. So we did a good job of that, and credit to all the guys, credit to the scouting report, and things like that. So that was a good game. I mean, it's turned into like a mini rivalry. Like I said, I don't really get too deep into it because a lot of people just look at the last 2 years of, our failure, I guess, in the MEAC tournament against them. But overall, I don't know if it's quite that rivalry just yet. But it's a fun game.
Yeah. So you've been having a good year, 14-8. I mean, especially with the schedule you play. I mean, you've played Stanford, you've played Grand Canyon, you've played Baylor, you've played Tennessee. Really strong wins against a very good High Point team. James Madison in the Sun Belt. Grambling, I watched that game, against Coach Jackson's, the Tigers, both previous guests. That was a really fun game to watch. 4-1 in the MEAC, which, is going to be kind of, I think every conference is going to be a bloodbath. It doesn't matter if you're 0-18 or 18-1, anybody can win in any given day. I mean, is that a pretty true statement?
Yeah, everything you said was a pretty true statement. I looked at the metrics the other day. It's actually the toughest schedule I ever had in my coaching career, which I don't know if that was totally by design or not, but is rated the toughest schedule we've ever had. So to be 14-8, even though I feel as a competitor, we could have probably got 2 or 3 more of those games, and that would really put us in a good space. But objectively, 14-8 is pretty solid for what we played. But with conference play, yeah. It doesn't really matter if I know Coppin State and UMES are struggling a little bit overall, but in conference play, I mean, anybody can win. That's why you're all in the same conference, because it's like opponents, some teams better than others and things like that, but you're in the same conference because you're pretty much, similar. So with that being said, you can win or lose any game on your schedule.
Yeah. So what's the recipe? What's the secret sauce? How are you doing it? I mean, especially in this age of the transfer portal, NIL, or as we like to call it, pay for play. I mean, that's what it is. And there's nothing, it is what it is. How are you doing it? I mean, how are you doing it at a program, no offense, like Norfolk, any mid-major program? How are you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, maybe early in my career, I probably maybe would have took offense, but now I understand that landscape is. I mean, we are. It's like when you had Norfolk State. Of course, I'm the coach of this, so I'm going to have tremendous pride in the institution.
Mm-hmm.
But we also an institution when you compare it to others, are lacking a lot of resources, and we're still able to compete at a high level that many people don't think that we're lacking the resources that we do. We played against teams on our schedule, and I'm not going to say specific names, but you can probably figure it out. They've spent $850,000 on NIL, $1 million on NIL, $2 million on NIL, and 2 out of those 3 opponents that I just mentioned, we beat. So it's like, with us really not spending anything right now, and we got some good things in place to try to release them for next year. It is tough, and people ask me that question all the time, like, how do you continue to do it year in and year out? Because there is a consistency level, and I think that for me, when I'm in the moment, I really don't think about it too much. But then when I take myself out of the moment and I look around at college basketball, and right now, I mean, we're on the verge of our 4th straight 20-win season. It's going to be tough. We still got to win, 6 out of the last 9 to put us in that space, or actually maybe a couple games in the tournament. So, we're the odds are in our favor, I should say, that we're going to get a 4th straight 20-win season, which is like almost unheard of for a school at our level with the guaranteed games that we play. And I think sometimes it is not getting enough credit, and it doesn't get enough praise because people get spoiled by winning, but they don't realize how hard it is to do it year in and year out when, the landscape is changing. I mean, we lost the Player of the Year and the Sixth Man of the Year, and with a better schedule, we're still at the same point we were last year. So it's like, people just think that, it's just that's just Norfolk State. They're going to, that's what they do and things like that. And it's like, nah, this is extremely hard, and we need more people to understand how hard it really is to get basically free players at this point to go against paid pros. Still win. So I think the last thing I say about that is just I think coaching still matters in this age. I think NIL you can buy the you can buy the best players now. You can do you can do whatever. It's like almost like blue chips, right? Blue chips like almost like a precursor for what's going on right now. So everything blue chips, the movie, but I think coaching still matters, and I think that's the chip I have on my shoulder is that when I know that this team has spent almost $1 million on NIL, I'm going to show them that coaching still matters. And we go out there and we play. We coach the guys up. We have them play with a chip on their shoulder. And that's it. So I don't really have like a super secret sauce, to them.
You ain't sharing it. That's why. You ain't sharing it, Coach. Come on now.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, man. I'll be honest with you, man. People ask me, they say, what's the sauce? What's the sauce? How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? And to be honest with you, I don't really have a real answer, man. I don't really have. I think it's
Coach, but do you think it's just your kind of upbringing and background? Like you're just, I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to make it successful. I think it's kind of a tribute to who you are as a person. But what I really have seen in the couple games I've watched, and I haven't watched just highlights, I've watched the full game, is I think a lot of coaches, and maybe like yourself, but I don't think you are struggling with culture of a program because it's really you have these kids, these young men, 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
But I look at how your team plays, unselfish. They're cheering for each other. Guy goes on the ground, they're running. How are you developing that year in and year out? Now, you did have Christian Ings come back, which is remarkable in itself. How are you doing that each year? I mean, you're on the brink of going, not to jinx it, 4 20-win seasons. That's not normal in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, with coaching, it is hard to keep culture when it's forever changing, right? So I think that it's up to the coaches to really kind of create that culture early from the jump. I think that the one thing that do help me is that everybody talks about continuity within players and like they talk about culture. I've had my staff for a long time too. So I've had CJ Clemens for 10 years, Jamal Brown for 9 years, Fairley I think for 6 years, and now Stephen Whitley, this is his 3rd year, but he played for me. So we're really like 7 years in together. So they know kind of exactly what I want. They know the exact player that I want and things like that. And I need to try to keep taking care of those guys so they can be with me even longer. I think that's underrated too, is that the staff promotes culture as well. And then for us, honestly, is that we did lose some heavy hitters, player of the year, 6 man of the year, a couple other guys. But we did return 7 people, even though they might be underrated 7, but that underrated 7 could maybe not statistically, but at least they can move the culture, forward with what hey, Coach Jones expects. Hey, when he says this, man, he really means this, stuff like that. So that helps as well.
Right. So I'm going to tell you, one of the most underappreciated players is Brian Moore.
Without question.
I mean, what he has done this year, averaging 19 points per game, came in from Murray State, averaged just under 10. He's just a flat-out ball player. I mean, he is just he has to. You need to watch this kid play, plain and simple.
Plain and simple. I mean, the kid, honestly, if he keeps sharpening his tools, man. I mean, he can. There's no reason why he can't play like in the PIT, and get a chance to play in front of NBA scouts and things like that. And hopefully we can keep doing things as a department, as an athletic program, as coaches to keep promoting them, so people can see that this kid is a real deal. That's why, honestly, there's always pressure, I think, to get to the NCAA tournament at this level. But I think for a kid like him, we need the world to see what Brian Moore is about. Now, that could go one or two ways for us too. Like that can also, because with him being a JUCO kid, he got that year back for next year. That could also cause a problem too with other bigger schools trying to come and poke him and stuff like that. But I mean, the kid deserves a chance to be on that big stage to really show what he can do, because he's a baller, man. He's a baller. He's very efficient. There's really no wasted moves, no wasted movement. He's deceptively athletic. He's deceptively strong, and he's doing it against everybody. It's not like he's just he's doing it against everybody. Everybody that's supposed to be good, he's doing it against.
24 points against Stanford. I mean, the thing, but here's the thing, and I can't remember what coach. We've interviewed, as you know, a lot of coaches, so I sometimes get confused who said and what have you.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: for your recruiting pitch, you brought in a kid from Murray State who was averaging 9.2 points a game in the Missouri Valley, very good conference. Now he's almost doubling. He's doubled his stats and then some. Don't you think maybe every year you might be able to uncover a Brian Moore Jr. every year in the transfer portal, just with your coaching staff's kind of evaluation and recruiting methods?
Well, I think that we're definitely able to use those examples, but even we could use Jamari Thomas. I mean, Jamari Thomas, I think he averaged 7 at UNC Wilmington and came and averaged 16. And the thing that I do want people to understand is that don't think that he's averaging more because you want to say, oh, he dropped in level, right? That's BS. Because one, if you look at our net and our Ken Palm and stuff like that, he probably actually went up to a better team than he was at before, right? And also, like you said earlier, we're only 4-1 in conference play. So we've only played 5 games. We've played 22 games overall. So 17 other games against people from all across the country, he's been doing this against. So that's always the misconception that people be like, oh, he dropped to a lower level and now he's doing this and that. No. He probably, like I said, came up. And also, we've only played 5 conference games. So he's been killing High Point. He's been killing Tennessee. He's been killing Stanford. He's been killing this guy. Like, all of those levels are supposed to be even higher than us. So he's been doing it there. So it's not. So that's the misconception that sometimes people have, that, oh, he dropped down, so he's doing better. No, he really came up.
Right. So. Right. And I mean, look at Jalen Myers too. I mean, he's almost doubled his production from UT Martin.
Yeah.
And
he's been a pleasant surprise, man. He's been the biggest surprise.
Really?
Everybody talk about Moore. Yeah, but we kind of figured Moore was going to probably get around that 13, 14 range. We thought, just by putting him in different positions. We didn't necessarily predict 18, 19. I will say that. But Jalen Myers is a legit third option, and sometimes even a second option for us from a kid that came. I think he averaged like 5 points or something like that last year at UT Martin. It's just all
5.9, yeah.
So it's all about just putting these kids in a position to make them successful, and also breathing a little bit of confidence in them. It's like, I don't take anybody out for taking an open shot. Whether it goes in or miss. Like, I don't take anybody out. I actually get mad at you if you don't shoot an open shot. Because it's like.
Have you talked to Coach Barnes about that one with Chaz Lanier?
No, I haven't talked to him about that, but I mean, yeah.
They designed a play and he didn't take the shot. He pulled him out, and people are like social media is getting abrupt. I'm like, dude, it's coaching. He didn't chastised the kid. Yeah. The play was designed. He was open. He didn't shoot it. I'm going to pull you out, right? I mean,
no matter what play you design, it could be the fanciest play or the simplest play. The best shot you're going to get is an open shot. So once you have an open shot, you better take it, because you probably won't get another open shot throughout the course of the play. So, just take the open shot. So my guys know that I'm probably tough to play for on defense, because I expect a lot defensively. But offensively, outside of, remembering the sets or whatever the case is, I'm actually probably easy to play for, because I tell you to take the open shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And what's amazing? You're tied for 21st in the nation in field goal percentage at 49%. So obviously guys are taking smart shots, open shots, what have you. So on December 23rd, 2024, Norfolk State decided to hire Michael Vick as their 19th head football coach. Mm-hmm. We interviewed last year Tad Boyle at Colorado. They hired Deion Sanders. How big is that for your program and the overall athletic program, bringing in someone like Michael Vick, who's obviously a hometown hero, NFL legend? How is that do you think going to translate for your basketball program?
I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to translate for us. I think that it's going to translate well for the overall department, because, let's face it, the first 2 or 3 football games are going to be sold out. I mean, we had a sellout since probably 2007 at, Norfolk State. That's like the last one I kind of remember. But so let's make this. So the revenue is going to be generated with ticket sales for football. Now after those first 2 or 3 games, now I think that a lot is going to be predicated on success. Because it is. Fans turn on you quick. Fans love you today, and then if you're not winning, they turn on you. But I think at the same time, if you are winning, now it could breed, even more things happening. I think that the one thing that it can help with the basketball program, like I said, I don't really know about the financial gains of it, yet, but just having the Norfolk State and people's, living rooms a little bit more, than their mouths a little bit more. So like now, even though I think that we're kind of becoming a little bit of a household name, like before, I used to have to explain where the hell Norfolk State was at, like when Norfolk State with 15 minutes from Virginia Beach, but now we don't really have that problem. But I think that with having Vic, it's going to help even more with solving that problem. Because at the end of the day, some fans are football fans. Some parents are football crazy. So like, oh, that's where Michael Vick coaches at. So it's not going to be like an issue, like that. So I think name recognition is going to help. Like I said, I'm still waiting to see what kind of benefits or rewards we get as a men's basketball program from things like that are super tangible, things like that. So, we'll see.
You think he has some handles still?
Huh?
Do you think he still has some handles?
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to, I'm sure one day he'll come in and talk to me. Like I said, I haven't seen him much. I've seen him 30 seconds at the press conference, and other than that, I haven't seen him.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I'm sure he'll come by and we'll kick it and things like that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, he's coming to a totally different situation than the NFL. And I think that just from us talking for these last 17 minutes, we've had a lot of success here. So why wouldn't you come talk to me, about how to have a little bit of success as a coach? Because obviously he's a great player, man. My name or any other coach at Norfolk State's name is not going to be bigger than Michael Vick's. But at the same time, us as a coaches, I'll say myself in particular, have done a lot of things that he probably would like to do as a coach. So, I assume that, shortly.
Right. So let's talk. Let's go back to you some more. It's all about you, Robert. So we're going to do the shot clock, which you've done before with Coach Brodus, but it's going to be all about you. We're not going to talk about anybody else. We're going to talk about your team and all that good stuff. So real simple, real easy. I mean, you passed it the last time. Okay. What does Norfolk State mean to you?
Norfolk State is my Kentucky. That's my Duke. That's my UCLA, whatever blue blood you want to say. That's what it means to me. Norfolk State also, I think, and I'll go back to Mr. Miller and continue on with AD Webb, now is that Norfolk State changed the whole trajectory of my life and probably my family's life. With being able to be elevated to a Division I head basketball coach. Of course, I would sit here, a lot of you say that it's not a financial reward that comes with that, which now helps everybody. And of course you got to keep winning to keep that financial reward. But at the same time, Norfolk State changed my life. So it is like my Duke, my Kentucky, and I try to do everything I can to keep that going and try to keep Norfolk State in a good light.
Love it, love it, love it. Which player would you say you yell at the first and maybe the most?
Currently? The first and maybe the most, Terrence Jones.
Why?
By far, because Terrence Jones is a kid, even though he's in his 4th year, I still think that he hasn't unlocked his full potential. And sometimes Terrence Jones is stopping Terrence Jones, from unlocking it. So that's why I yell at him the most, because I think that if he can unlock his full potential, he's another piece to the puzzle that we could be super, super duper dangerous, because he's a kid that can really play. He could do some things, but like I said, sometimes T. Jones is stopping T. Jones from doing some things. Yeah. So he is definitely probably the first player and the player that gets yelled at the most, probably. And after that, secondly, is a close second, maybe 1A, 1B, is Kawel Meding, because he's almost in the same thing with Jones, that Kawel, if he can unlock his full potential. He's 6'11", can do everything. He could be a pro if he would unlock his full potential. So right. He's the second guy to get yelled at the most.
Okay. And people think yelling is a bad thing, but as a coach, as a former coach, and I guess I still coach kids, you care. I think the more you yell you're not yelling in a derogatory or mean way. It's just trying to unlock, because listen, you see things that other people might not see in him, let alone himself. So, kudos to that. Who fouls the most on your team? Who's leading the team in fouls, personal fouls per game?
Literally, like stat wise, or what I see.
Both.
It's either, Terrence Jones, he does it a lot, but he does it in practice a lot. Yeah, I know his minutes are, sometimes limited in the game, but if I have to say overall, probably him. But in the game, probably Jelani Darden, if I'm not mistaken.
Bladden.
Really?
Yeah, 2.8 personal fouls per game.
Oh wow! I would think Darden, but Darden got to be a close second.
Yeah. I don't know what he is, but he's leading. He's the side. The thing is, if you foul with two hands and you foul if a couple kids foul at the same time, they're only going to call one. That's the one. A coach told me that once.
Yeah, sure.
What is the arena you've always wanted to coach in?
The arena I always wanted to coach in. Madison Square Garden against St. John's. I've always wanted to. St. John's is probably what some would say a dream job, because and not be, I know St. John's had their struggles recently, but Pitino's doing a good job. But it's like, I'm from New York. I'm from South Jamaica, Queens. St. John's was 10 minutes from where I grew up at, and my version of St. John's is totally different than what people might have, now, right? Is that I remember the Sweet 16s. I remember, Mark Jackson,
Malik Steele.
Malik Steele. Zindon Hamilton, Felipe Lopez. I remember all those guys going to.
Hey, I got one for you. Tariq Turner.
He was with Zindon Hamilton. Stuff like that.
Yep.
So. So my version of St. John's is different than what people think of St. John's. People might why St. John's? It's like, what's the big deal about that? But I grew up, like I said, 10 minutes, 12 minutes from St. John's, and then I've seen what it is, and of course, the Mecca, Madison Square Garden. That's the place that you want to play at, you want to coach at, you want to do everything at. So, it would probably be Madison Square Garden versus St. John's.
Have you ever made the call?
To what?
To play that game.
We actually want to play this season, but the date got kind of the date was agreed upon at first, but then it had to be changed, and then the date that had to be changed to we couldn't do it anymore. So we got close this year. This is the first year that we actually got close, because usually in other years, to be honest with you, before Pitino got there, they used to be like, hell no, we're not messing with you guys. But now I think that they think the program's in pretty good space, so they don't mind playing us now.
Yeah. You would be a tough team to face against anybody. So you talked about New York and where you're from. So what song best describes you? I'm really curious about this one now.
What song describes me? I can tell you the song that I play a lot before games to get me into kind of in the mood is 50 Cent Mini Men. And
Okay.
it's like Many Men, wish death.
Yeah. Yeah.
People. Well, at least I think people are not wishing death upon me, but
No.
but I do kind of walk with that kind of swag, that kind of aura that I feel like people want to see me fail, and I'm not going to let you see me fail. So that's where the death of come in and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to be what I'm destined to be, and people trying to take my life away. That's what I put in my mind. That's the swag I go out and give, because that's what I feel like. And I say people try to take my life away. It's like the other team's trying to win. The more the other team wins, my lifestyle could change, right? So like I gotta win more. What's going on. So that's the song that I kind of play right before the arena.
Love it. Absolutely love it. What would you give me your funniest recruiting story?
Kyle O'Quinn, easily. Kyle O'Quinn was a kid that I saw on DVD. That's how long ago I recruited Kyle O'Quinn. He's my first recruit. So I watched him on DVD in the hotel room, and I was like, I told Coach Evans, who was the coach back then, that we gotta offer this kid. He's like, why? And I was like, he's 6'8" at the top of the press, shooting mid-range jumpers and things like that. I don't understand why no one's recruiting this kid. Right? So I went up to New York, and I went into Coach Granby's office. Rest in peace to Coach Granby. And Kyle O'Quinn walks in the office sucking a lollipop, and I'm like, well, come on now, who's this big 6'8" kid sucking his lollipop now? Like, I just thought he was soft, And so, but then the one thing he was actually a legit 6'8", which is sometimes gets a little tricky. People say they're really 6'6", but he was a legit 6'8". I know he can run, pass, shoot, and things like that. So Kyle came down actually on a Tuesday, which, how this is, coach, man, usually try to bring the kids down on the weekend. They kind of see the whole social life game. But he came down on Tuesday, basically sat in my office for 48 hours, pretty much, because there was nothing going on a Tuesday. We just talked. A couple days later, he said, I'm gonna commit. And obviously that was probably the biggest commit that I ever had, because everything changed after that. So and then of course he was fortunate to grow 2 inches in college, so that was a big thing for him, for his personal career. But that's probably one of the funniest stories, because it just happened over DVD. It happened over DVD, and like I said, the whole lollipop thing threw me off a little bit.
The fact that he sat in your office for 48 hours is just comical in itself, because like I've been on recruiting trips as of you've hosted, you've been on them personally. I mean, whether it's 20 years ago, 20, whatever it is, 25 years ago, got almost 30 years ago for me. And you want to see the ladies, you want to see the food, you want to see the bars, the clubs, the house parties, whatever, the school and thing. So hey, you obviously did something right there. So but last question I've got for you. Okay, we asked you the song that best describes you. What is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal. What do you mean by that exactly?
Like, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? So we've had everything from a kangaroo, we've had a dog, we've had a largemouth bass, we've had some weird ones. Like, what would you like?
A lion.
What would you be? A lion?
Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm always the king of the jungle. So I feel like that's just how I feel. That's just how I am. And whether it's right or wrong, it works for me. I feel like that. When I step in the room, the temperature change. That's how I feel.
Coach, I see you on the sidelines. Yeah. I see you with your neck chest out.
Yeah,
up there, I'm a lion, rip your head off.
It's funny you say that. My accountant, he came to a game the other day, and of course we have other conversations, about important life stuff, right? And he said, "Hey man, I don't mean any offense, don't take this the wrong way." He's like, "But like watching you coach, it looks like you like bipolar, man." And he's like the person that I know and the person that I see on the sideline are two different people, and stuff. And I'm like, man. you just got to bring the intensity, and hopefully your team can feed off that intensity. And it's been working for me. Like I said, that's just me.
Yeah, I think most Division I head basketball coaches are then bipolar. I mean, let's be honest. But Coach, that's awesome. We really appreciate that. You obviously passed, and I'm going to be listening to Many Men today. I mean, I'm going to be cranking that today. I mean, I listen to that song. My 11-year-old dad's like, put on 50 Cent. I'm like, what are you talking about? Put it on. I'm like, I forgot about this song. Yeah. And it's just like, just that beat. Yeah. And, you can take those lyrics anywhere like you did. It's not about, death. It could be about a lot of things. And I appreciate for saying that. But, last minute of the show, I want to let you kind of, reach out to the alumni, the boosters, the fans. What can they expect from Norfolk as you go through the MEAC?
Well, I think that you're going to expect us to be, fighting for another championship. I mean, I truly believe that this team is a well-constructed team, which is still finding its stride. The last game was the first time we had 13 guys available on the roster in a long time. So we're still figuring out our way. And I think that, we might be 14-8. People might look at it as like, oh, that's pretty good. But there's a lot more potential in this team, and we're going to try to keep unlocking that potential. So I do think for the fans, friends, alumni, that you're going to see us compete for another and we're going to need a little luck in that scope, like anybody else. But I do think that we have enough talent to compete for a championship, and hopefully you keep supporting the program. Like we talked about, in our 10th minute of the show, probably about teams with these big NIL budgets, and that's the landscape of basketball. I think I challenge any alumni fan and a friend or whatever the program is to. We're doing good now, but imagine if we had some of the resources that others have. How good would we really be doing? So I challenge everybody to contribute to the NIL fund and things like that to keep building Norfolk State into a mid-major powerhouse.
Yeah, and what people don't understand is Coach Jones likes dancing, so I want to see you dance in that NCAA tournament this year. Coach, you're going to stick on with us for one more minute as we upload. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like Coach said, check out Norfolk State, the Spartan basketball. Really good basketball. I've watched them twice now against Grambling and Howard. Looking forward to seeing them again, whether it's on ESPN Plus, ESPNU, whatever. If you're in the Norfolk area, a couple hours away, you got to check them out. They're fun, great basketball, high IQ, really athletic. It's fun. So don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Follow us on the Full Court Network on all our social media handles. Check out our Substack page. We got some good stuff. We're going to do something about Robert Jones, I think, and some of the more underappreciated coaches like himself. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you back on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.